It didn't pick up.
I have the power to fire.
Yes, but not over this. What was you doing? Oh, we were doing extracurricular work, and
I don't like it. Really, I hate this.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. For anybody who's wondering, now that we're going to address the audience, but the audience exists.
Break the fourth wall. Do it.
Hello, the audience. We have more audience today, and we're feeling timid. I tell you what, we've got tips about preparing for this kind of thing.
Just the tips.
We've got all sorts of time management advice. If only we had an episode of that. Oh, we do. Phil, would you like to introduce it? I hate this.
No, this is the most uncomfortable I think I've ever been.
Yeah. The dogs were watching once, and that was bad. You need to do the introduction.
I do. Hello and welcome to Back to the Drawing Board, an architecture podcast hosted by me, Phil Wantley-Smith, architect and director at PWS Architecture and Design, and this is my intern Theo.
Hello.
Today, we thought we'd have a quick and thus very long conversation on the idea of adding hours to your week in a time management episode. So while you can't actually add more time to a 24-hour day, there are several techniques you can use to maximise those 24 hours as best you can.
Oh, I hate this.
I do too. I can just see her staring at me.
A little bit of extra context for all of our long-term viewers.
Mum, how you doing?
Hey. We've got an extra little guest in the studio today. And by studio, we do mean the office.
We're a studio.
We're a studio. We should stop saying we're going into the office then. Anyway, Zhana's here.
Yeah, it's going to pick
No one's going to hear that. In the very background, you'll say...
Just wax the volume straight up.
So
Which is, I suppose, a good segue from that would be the first point of prioritising tasks.
Yeah, she's currently watching us instead of working.
God.
Oh. We're going to get about 3 episodes into this, and there's going to be another microphone set up.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I was thinking of buying one anyway for the interviews. So for the first section will be prioritising tasks, which I think is probably the most basic and straightforward of them. Determine the most important task you have and tackle them first. There are things like the Eisenhower Matrix.
The Eisenhower Matrix?
Here we go.
Oh, as everyone may have noticed, the screen just changed.
Oh, what the hell?
No, this is new to us, but this will be episode 3, and we're using it a lot in episode 2. So anyone who's watching is going to be thinking, "What are they so surprised about?" I was just intrigued by it.
Okay, first of all, I didn't realise you were doing this. Second of all, there is no way anyone looking through over there is going to be able to see what's going on. But okay,
maybe they can if the quality's all right.
You just have to describe it a bit better.
Yeah, well, we're a podcast, so a lot of this is going to be audio anyway. So.
Fair point.
For anyone listening, that's how it works. Yeah, Eisenhower Matrix. Basically, we've got these big 4 squares, and it's in order of what's important and what's not important, what's urgent and what's not urgent. So where it's important and urgent, you've got things that you have to do, so you can put that on your to-do list. Things that are important but not urgent, you can schedule to do them later. Things that are urgent but not important, you can delegate them. So if you're in a position of management, you can delegate the task thinking it's urgent, but I don't have time to prioritize it myself. And if it's not urgent and not important, then delete that.
Get it in the bin.
Yeah.
My only problem with this is I deem everything that I do important.
I'm not going to put... That's what I thought when I saw it. I thought, I'm not going to put it on my to-do list.
What's not important? Pay Theo.
Yeah, I got my student loan the other day, so now I'm only 400 quid in debt.
Ooh.
Richest person in the office.
It's just a very, very good point.
Yeah, but I kind of thought that's a bit of a pointless square because, yeah, if I don't need to do it, it's not on my list. If it's not urgent, if it's going on the schedule, that's kind of saying it doesn't need to be done now, so it doesn't need to be done in my mind. I'm thinking, well, if it's not on urgent to do, it's not really happening for me because I'm not in a position to really delegate stuff. I'm having stuff delegated to me.
Yeah,
You're the one who says,
I delegate you something and you go, oh, Phil, I need to delegate this task. You want to take it?
I need you to do this. I'll suddenly be sat there going, crap, I've got no work.
Phil, crack on with making this coffee, will you? Yes,
yeah.
Yes, boss.
So it's clearly a thing for people who are in a position of management. Yeah. But even then, as you say, if it's in the delete file, why is it on your to-do list in the first place?
I suppose that's more of a work out the bits that you
It's just
don't actually
tidying
need
up,
to.
isn't
Yeah, essentially, it's work out the bits that you don't actually need to do.
I was looking for some examples of this, and I found just this cracking one. On the urgent and important one, it had a list. Crying baby, that's important and urgent, you need to see to it.
Why do you put this much effort into your actual work?
Some
I'm impressed.
Some phone calls, that's important and urgent. Kitchen fire.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's it's fair to say that's as important as some calls.
I don't know. I think if my kitchen was on fire and Hannah was calling me, I'd pick up the phone.
And it's clear that some calls are more important than my vocation.
Yep.
Not important are distractions and interruptions. Which, why would you delegate that to Theo? I need you to handle all the distractions and interruptions today.
Yeah, Theo, do us a favour. I really would like to learn this song on the guitar. Enjoy.
Other calls.
Just anyone I can't be asked talking to.
Will you deal with all the other calls
Oh.
as opposed to some calls? And then not urgent, things to delete from your to-do list if you were planning on doing any trivia.
Oh, yeah.
Delete that.
Because as we all know, I have a special star role on The Chase.
Yeah. Busy work, that's so important.
Time Wasters.
Delete your busy work. And
Isn't your band called The Time Wasters?
Yeah, it is. Oh, speaking of which, go listen to that.
You best take that off of your list to do then.
Delete time waste. Oh, yeah. Oh.
No.
Yeah, it's good to know that busy work is so much less important than some calls.
Busy work must mean something. Like, it must be like a colloquial term. Work that keeps a person busy, but has little value in itself. It's actually a thing, busy work.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Delete your busy work.
Delete your busy work.
Back to the graphic.
Was that the only set of slides you had for this?
No, it's just when we're not just, strictly discussing a slide, we can look at the graphic.
I've never been more impressed by you.
Thank you. I mean, there's 3 slides, in fairness, and that's 2 of them.
Oh, man.
The awards one, which, again, hopefully everyone else knows about, but you won't yet, has 90.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to look at them, so it's now going to be a bit
I don't want you to look at them. I'm happy for you to look at the notes, but I don't want you to see...
You want me to be surprised by what comes on?
Yeah, I think there'll be some...
We're going to have to cut this bit out because it's not in time sequence, because we're doing episode 2 after
but they'll all
episode
know
3.
what we're talking about.
That's a fair point. Anyway, so second one, with time blocking. Schedule your day in blocks, assigning specific tasks to each period. This helps to focus on one task at a time and reduces multitasking. Well, I'm waiting for a slide to pop up now. I'm like on edge of my seat thinking he's got something I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so I was thinking this kind of sounds like the standard time management tool, which is something I've done a lot, where you put it into like squares and you have a bit of like just a daily planner.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of, I when we were writing this episode, I was also at the same time writing up my time. I think I saw this and got inspired to do mine. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, this is like my 10th millionth ever time management tool. And so I was setting mine up. And oh, you were looking down at the wrong time there.
Bloody hell.
I thought, well, maybe we could have a look and see.
Awaken. Rise from my slumber.
Yeah.
Shower, eat, dress.
Therefore, obviously, all days of the week. As you can see, I've used colours. I can't see that. But I'm sure you can.
If anyone wants to follow Theo's professional Instagram, it's the Colourblind Architect.
Not an architect.
Not an architect. One thing, because there's reflections I'm getting from the outside, so I can't see it properly. What are the colours? Because I can see the code there, the key, but I can't read what it says.
Green is travelling. I started at travelling because that's the first thing I looked at, but I'll start from the top. Blue is lectures. Orange is exercising.
Oh, travelling between
places.
tasks.
It takes me half an hour to get in. So that wherever it's green is me going from home to uni or from uni to home.
I was when you said travel, I was like, so he travels for half an hour to where?
Yeah.
It's a short haul flight.
Red is music.
Yep.
Green travel. Grey, which I can see is purple from here, but I know I said it as grey. I'm pretty sure. I put right off, so that's like when I'm really tired in the evening, or when I'm doing socialising, or when I'm asleep. So like on my Monday, when I get in like I'm finished everything at 9 o'clock and I've just scheduled in cry and followed by grey time because I know I'm not going to do any work at that point.
Yeah.
It's a bit useless for me to pretend anything. Same with Saturday and Sunday before 12, I basically know I'm not going to do useful stuff. It's a weekend. I'm going to be out the night before. I know I'm not doing anything. So there's no point in me guilt tripping myself saying like, I think that's an important thing is making sure.
You've got to be realistic with it.
Yeah, you've got to be, it's not even like scheduling your own breaks, but like being realistic about when you're not going to work. Because to say I'm going to work from like 8 a.m. every single day, for me, I know that's not happening. And also, like, finishing at the same time every day isn't happening. People will schedule until, like, 5 p.m. And then I'm like, well, there's stuff going on after that. But also, you might not work those times every single day.
There's also, like, just finish this task that takes another 45 an hour. Then the next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock that you're finishing.
I think that's the fundamental flaw with this, is it leaves no room for flexibility.
Yeah.
Obviously, mine's in half an hour blocks. But it's in hours, but there's 2 lines between it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's as you say, if something takes a bit longer or if it's a bit shorter, then suddenly my day's thrown off. But that's the most realistic thing I've managed to come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen sometimes where people do like they have like a system for morning is when we do all the design work. I think it's called. I'm sure it's called like the make and manage thing, where during say the first.
It's not like what is it like? Not specific. But
yeah, so you would be doing your design work, model making, all that kind of stuff between, say, 9 and 1, and then from 1 till 5, you might have the managed side of things, so you deal with phone calls. I know there are some places that say you get 1 hour's worth of phone call with the director or your architect a week, make it count.
Who does that?
That's what I'm trying to implement at the moment.
Yeah,
is trying to have set times. Unless it's an emergency, like if someone's house starts collapsing, they can get in touch with us. I'm not going to ignore it.
I think the problem in architecture is when you're dealing with people who are outside of the office, you can't control when they want to get in touch with you. So if you're saying, well, I'm only doing management in the afternoon, but a client or a builder or a contractor wants to get in touch in the morning, you can't say, oh, sorry, call me back this afternoon. Like, this isn't my management time, because they've obviously got their lives to live as well and they need to know things at certain times, so it's like
but I suppose it's given them that you can call me at Tuesday at 4 o'clock. That's
then,
your hour.
But then what if they realise that like Tuesday at 4 o'clock they're at the doctor's, well,
they missed it that week then, or they can reschedule it I suppose by email, but we're trying to implement a bit more of something like that, because the biggest problem isn't necessarily wasting time or anything like that. It's more actually that amount of distraction that I get from people constantly calling and trying to get my attention all day long. Which leads us nicely on to number 3, which is reduce distractions. So turn off notifications, find a quiet place to work and inform others of your focused work time to minimize interruptions.
Yeah, that one, fair enough. It can only help. I was thinking about that and I thought it's not like an end all and be all, but it's like, it certainly is something. You can never say, I'm giving myself less distractions, but that won't help. Like it will.
There's kind of an inevitability. I think it's then assessing, for
it's
example.
More thinking about what is the distraction that I need to get rid of, what can't I get rid of.
Yeah.
I can put my phone away and I think I'm lucky and I'm one of the few people who doesn't necessarily need it as a distraction, which is funny considering my condition. Whereas a lot of people like, all those TikTok kids will be like just on it constantly. Yeah. What's a TikTok?
Yeah, I genuinely, I don't actually have, I never have had TikTok.
Okay, good. You're 30.
That's a fair point. I think the police had turned up at my door immediately.
Yeah.
One of the main distractions that I had when we had the office in the house was the kids coming to and from school, or if they were off for a week for the school holidays or they were ill. It just made kind of that environment impossible to work in. So it's one of the main reasons we ended up moving to the office. So yeah, it's finding what those distractions are and then finding a way around it. Phone, I wish I could find a way to get away from, but it's the main source of people actually getting in touch for important things.
Yeah, but then when you're using it actually as a phone.
But I suppose on the flip side, I'm looking in now getting an office separate to a home phone so that I've got, because it's not, I'm now just stepping out of distractions from work. I'm now thinking distractions from my home life.
Stepping out of work, whereas stepping out of
because at the minute,
life.
If a builder wants to talk to me at 10 o'clock at night and they call me, chances are I'll pick up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. It'll be good.
Or I'll be thinking, why are they calling me for the rest of the day?
Yeah. So when you're at home, you can actually have that separate. Yeah.
So there's declutter your space. A clean and organised workspace can reduce stress and improve focus. I am actually genuinely trying that. I do normally work in complete chaos, like organised chaos, but I'm trying to do the last thing we do on a Friday. We shut down a bit earlier and we clean our desks so that there's like less paper and crap.
Are you sure about that?
I try.
Are you sure about that?
Look at my desk now compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be covered in Christmas cards, didn't it?
Ha ha ha. I hate you both. But yeah, my desk's like completely clear compared to what it used to be, where you couldn't actually move or see anything or do anything.
We need to get
Hers
Zhana
is a
on this.
nightmare. I'm not even going to make eye contact
Zhana has
with her.
plants. That's different. Plants isn't clutter.
It's not the
You
plants.
just don't like joy in your life.
It's not the plant. It's not the plants. It's the plans that, for jobs that she's finished and moved on from.
So speaking of organized chaos, I had a small pile of pages next to my desk that I didn't have much space, so I just put them out of the way. And I came in the other day and realized it's turned into a waste paper pile. And I was looking for it, like, where have my plants
Well, we don't
gone?
have a recycling bin.
You saw some paper on the floor and you went, yeah, that's the new bin.
Right next to Theo's desk.
Well, that's where the bin was.
Your desk's not so bad though.
That's because I don't have that much stuff. Half of the clutter on my desk is Zhana's.
That's a very good point.
I love it when she's
Adam's
not,
pencil.
when she's not here to defend herself, so I just get the angry faces off the side.
Yeah. Worst thing is I can see it in my peripheral vision. I'm like, well, this kid's gonna die.
Yeah, half of the stuff on my desk isn't mine.
But yeah, I mean, I try to clear my desk down on a Friday. The other thing I try to do is clear my desktop, because nothing should be on the desktop. It should all be on the drive, on the the cloud server, everything.
Computers.
And I also try to clear out my my literal desktop, my desktop, and my download folder, because inevitably I've downloaded approved applications,
Bunch of
details,
PDFs.
things, like engineers'
PDF
drawings.
city that you don't need.
And I'm referencing them through the week, but I keep them in the downloads folder because that's in my head the easiest place to get to, when really they should be in, example, engineer's drawing should be in the project folder, info received, structural engineer. It's working that process through and making sure at the end of the week everything's cleared out.
Yeah.
Much easier than having 795 million things in your downloads folder and going, oh, I downloaded that 4 years ago, let's see if I can find it.
The annoying thing I have is I obviously when I download stuff, I'll put it into the appropriate folder. I'm pretty good at putting it immediately into the appropriate folder. But then I seem to just duplicate it. So I look into my downloads folder. I'm like, well, I've already got that in the right folder. So if I delete it, is it going to delete it there? And then I end up with a big long list because I get the fear of actually deleting anything.
Fear of deletion.
It's like when I've got 5 different copies of the same photo on my phone. I'm like, well, what if I get rid of all of them? And actually, it's a picture of my dog having a turd in the back garden. I never needed it.
What do you mean you never needed that?
True that.
So number 5 on the suggestion list is the Pomodoro technique, which, if I'm being honest, I thought Pomodoro was a pasta. I mean,
I'm boiling over, Phil.
I can see that your notes on this are, and you'll have to bleep this, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Can you just say "f**k" like that?
No, I'm going to go Pomodoro can go f**k itself in big capitals.
Yeah, let's make it clear that's capital letters.
Yeah. Which, again, I think I'm on the same page. I'm not sure that it really works in our environment.
If you say to someone, I think I've got, not a thing, but if you say to someone, I've got ADHD, they go, oh, have you made a list?
Have you checked it twice?
And have you tried the Pomodoro effect? And I go, I have more lists.
The Pomodoro effect. Is it like the butterfly effect?
Jesus. I have more lists than you could ever dream of, and I don't know where a single one of them is.
Yep.
And there's so many. For normal people, I imagine it would work. For people who've maybe got a short attention span but have the ability to just turn on their concentration, great, do it. 25 minutes working, 5-minute break. Gives you that bit of a thing. But for me, if I, in that 25 minutes, get concentration and then give it up, I'm not getting that back.
No.
And secondly, in that 25 minutes, what I'm going to be thinking about is, when's my time going on? As soon as you put your phone away, but then all you're thinking about is, when's that alarm on my phone going to go off? And it's like you want to reach for it just to check the time. It'd be like, oh, okay, I've still got time to do something.
Weirdly, after writing the show notes for this, I got an advert on Instagram. It was like a desktop mat. You can it had all these other features, but one of the main features it had a circle on the top corner, and you twist it as a timer, and it would count down, so you could put 25 minutes on it to count down.
Being able to see it might be good.
I don't think it would, because I would spend 25 minutes
just
watching 25 minutes count down,
yeah.
Because I'd be going, oh my god, 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 oh my god,
oh
oh my god, and then watch the sun go down, and then come back up, and the sun go down. Like, it would just not work for me. It wouldn't work for me, but what I tend to do is, I'll just start working, and I do agree with taking gaps, but what I tend to do is take them between tasks.
Yeah, between obvious spots. If you finish one planning drawing and then you can go and, as you say, say your thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I can...
I was about to steal your bit.
No, I don't mind, steal my bit. Yeah, so often I'll do something, get to the end of that task, finish it off, and then I'll go make a coffee or some sort of drink if I'm not having caffeine at that particular point of the day. Presumably this is just before bed. Or go walk the dogs.
Bed?
Yeah. I'll go walk the dogs, or I'll go do something that's a bit different, take my mind off it, come back and do the next task. So I agree with taking breaks. I just don't think you can schedule them because...
Yeah, because then all you're thinking about is when do I get my break?
That, and after about... If I start really pushing myself into a project, after 10 minutes I'm into the project, then I get 15 minutes of solid workout before I have a 5-minute walking around, come back, get my head into it for 10 minutes.
Obviously, like, when you're in school and you've got, like, an hour-long lesson or whatever, it's kind of one of them, that's like...
You're in the middle of a lecture, just stand up, walk around for 5 minutes and sit back down.
No, but it's one of them, like, when they're in set blocks, obviously that's so that the entire, like, establishment can run.
Yeah.
But you can often find you're looking at your watch thinking, right, I've got, like, 40 minutes left of this, and then you're just dreading them final 20 minutes. And it's like that having a timer, it's like, it just gets into your head of this is how long I have left.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's why I hate the Pomodoro effect.
So similar to the Eisenhower, similar to the Eisenhower Matrix.
Well, it's one of the things.
Point 6 is delegate tasks. If possible, delegate tasks that others can handle, so you can focus on what's most important or requires your expertise.
You'll notice I have no comment here because I said this to Phil the other day. The kind of delegation from my life would be like if I thought, the hoovering needs to be done. If I turn to my mum and say, "Mum, will you do the hoovering up, please? I'm very busy today." I'm getting slapped over the face.
I mean,
I love you, Mum. As one of our 2 viewers.
You're the delegatee, not the delegator in this situation.
You've got to be in the position of management for this to be.
Yeah, realistically. Yeah. I suppose the thing is I need to get better at that because I like to micromanage and then I get anxious that things aren't being done the way I want them.
Yeah, you'll delegate it and then go just
and
watch.
do it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, what's the point if you're going to watch over us while you're doing it?
Yeah. But
so quit that.
It's trying to find...
Wait, you don't like it.
The other thing is trying
to... Us in the audience, me and the audience.
Yeah. The audience of one in the corner.
The audience is busy right now.
Us.
The audience is enjoying their chance to do some work.
Yeah, without us trying to talk to them. But yeah, it's something I'm definitely working on. I think the thing is also finding, if you're going to delegate tasks, especially in a role that I'm in where it's also bringing people up. So the way I see it is if I'm going to start moving up the ladder in terms of the works that I'm doing.
Say, aren't you at the top?
Yeah, but doing more of the higher level stuff than the low, like doing a bit of everything, is I need to train you and Big Z in the corner there up to that point so I need to find tasks that work for you that can be taken off my plate to get you up to that point where you can then delegate further down the line. But I'm working on it. I promise I'm working on it. So yeah, you can't delegate delegation. But you can try.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's definitely for being in the right position for that tip.
Yeah. Then next thing is streamlining processes, which is something that I work on hard. So look for ways to...
such a corporate word. We need to streamline this job.
And then can we circle back after the break?
Yeah.
I think I'm at that point of the year now where everyone is now circling back, and I kind of wish I'd dealt with it.
We should have streamlined to begin with.
Yeah, we should have dealt with it at the start. But yeah, look to ways to automate or simplify repetitive tasks and save time, which is a big thing that I do a lot of anyway.
Yeah.
I make a lot of templates for like both CAD, SketchUp, InDesign, Photoshop, all these things I try and template as much as I can. Not because I want things to look the same and repetitive over and over again. Wait, other way around. Time. Not because I want to just save time, but because it means I can take the thought process out of certain things like that. Oh, how big is sofa? This is how big a sofa is. How big is bed? This is how big, how thick is wall? Like we've even got them down to technical details in dynamic blocks where you can take a wall, put it in, stretch it out to the desired length, and it details the wall.
Wall is this big.
Yeah, and then even at the concept stage, how thick that wall's going to be based on the U value you need to meet and the way in which you're going to build it. The other thing, though, that it does really well, other than kind of simplify and make things easier, is it saves a lot of like the mundane stuff. You can work more on the kind of appearance of it rather than just the layout.
One of the things I think is important for that, there we go, is as well kind of recording your inefficiencies. And it's one of the things, I was listening to some like how to make money and become really cool podcasts, and they were talking about budgeting, and it was you have to record actually your spendings beforehand of like, where are you wasting, so you can look at it and you go, this is what I want, this is what I like. And it's like when you're looking at what's taking me more time, so then once you've kind of had a look at everything that's a problem for you, then you can start streamlining it and making your blocks for it. And because you won't have known that you needed door templates until you've done X amount of jobs and can see, oh crap, redoing a door every single time is taking up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So if I just make one block now, save that into a file, I can come back to it whenever I need it.
And the other thing with those blocks is we can also make it work double hard by having pre-designed ones that are the specific size of the doors that are available, like as standard. So 711 door, 838 door, things like that. You can then look at it and go, right, this is a standard size door. I'll put this throughout the building because I know they're going to be able to pull it off a shelf.
Yeah.
Even down to
having all the IKEA furniture in a block.
Yes. Oh, lovely IKEA. Yeah, maybe that's what we should do, because everyone furnitures with IKEA stuff. But yeah.
Bespoke design.
I suppose the big thing, and number 8 is say no, which is obviously something that I've been, if you've watched episode 1 of this season, is something I've been doing a lot of, because at one point I was saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
But now it's saying no. Be selective about which commitments you take and avoid overloading your schedule.
I think that's another good point, though, of it depends on where you're at.
Your comments just, yup.
Yep. Well, that's a good point. But you've got to be at a point where you can say no, because
we've got that luxury.
Yeah, obviously, when you're first starting out your business or when you're at uni, you have to
you'll remember a few years ago when there were 6 of us, and it was because I kept saying yes.
Yeah,
so I had to keep getting staff in.
I mean, certainly with my uni project last semester, I kept having an idea and in my head saying yes to the idea because I thought that's a good idea, instead of thinking, do I have the time and like the time management skills, I guess, to handle designing that idea? And in the end, I kind of messed it up a bit.
Yeah.
And so it's one of them saying no to your own ideas in your head of, actually, I can't delve that deep into this concept.
Oh, I can't do that. I write it down.
Yeah.
I write it down, put it to one side and go, I'll come back to that when I've got time.
And then you forget about it and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's I guess that's another way that can work, aside from even in a management position of saying no to jobs, but saying no to certain concepts and kind of being able to get that idea in your head of how long will this actually take me? Can I realistically act on this? Yeah. I think I said something there.
Yeah. Poignant. You almost opened yourself out to a moment of philosophical realization.
We've got a nod and a clap from the audience. So
I can see you reflected in that window.
Oh, perfect.
So, number 9.
Every now and then looking at
Duh.
Yeah.
So, number 9, exercise and self-care. Taking care of your health can boost energy levels and concentration, making you more efficient during work hours.
Yes, it can. Easier said than done.
Yeah, preach. It's been a very long time since, well, it's probably been, it was well over a year since my entire routine of self-care, going to the gym, blah, 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 meal prepping and stuff, all went down the pan.
I wrote in case you didn't see earlier, my routine. I had a very similar routine last semester. I wrote it and then never looked at it. Yeah. But then I got this timetable that one of the course directors had put together of just a timetable for it. And I printed that out, stuck it on my wall like next to my monitor, and put that on with like my extra classes and shizzle. And I'm being very careful not to have to do any bleeps here.
I can see.
And schwaz. And it was kind of useful of one of them of just, right, what do I have to do today? Yeah. But then the problem comes along when it's like something I don't have to do. Like if I've got a day with no lectures, and I'll look up and I'll see it and I'll go, oh, sweet, I don't need to get out of bed until I'm going out this evening. See,
in my head, it was like I got to, when it started to get really busy last year before we put the advert out for
the audience.
Was in my head, it was just like, oh, I'm not that important. I'll just not go to the gym this year, like this today, tomorrow, this week, this month, this year. Yeah. Like it's properly snowballed.
I'm not my own priority. And then you think, why am I doing everything if it's not selfishly for me?
Yeah, I've literally done nothing for me.
Yeah.
But then the other bit is when in 2021, when we had everyone in and it was absolute chaos, was when I fluked my way onto a podium at the UK's truck pulling championships. So maybe just doing nothing is like the best thing for that.
One of the things is self-care, and I think actually timetabling in that is quite a good thing. And you'll notice...
You're really proud of this, aren't you?
I'm really proud of having graphics, Phil. Even if nobody can see it because of the horrible reflections and poor quality. But in my write-off time, some of the things I have is cry. And it's not going to be cry, but what that means is just take a bit of time before doing anything else.
You're just trying to be silly.
No, and it's one of them of actually timetabling in that time when you know you just need a breath.
Yeah.
And just to breathe it and put in that, because I could put in there, go for a walk or go to the gym, but then that puts the pressure on me to do exercise, which I think is different.
Yeah.
Slightly to obviously go to the gym.
You could still go for a walk in that time, but it's less.
Yeah.
It's more self-care walk.
Yeah. Or you could even just lie down and just put on a bit of a meditation thing, or literally just have a cry.
Or in my case, turn the death metal down just a touch.
Just a bit, yeah. Just give your ears a break. But just, actually timetabling in breaks. Not breaks, but like self-care.
Which I suppose leads us on to tip number 10 from our research, which was sleep well. Ensure you get enough rest. A well-rested mind is more efficient than a tired one. Yep. It's all well and good saying that, but duty calls.
As above, easier said than done. If you for our profession.
Well,
what is sleep?
you don't sleep because you stay up all night drinking. I don't.
No, that gets me to sleep a lot easier, which is probably an issue in itself.
That's something that can be addressed in a different one. Alcoholism and architecture. Write that down.
What is the whole episode?
Yeah.
But yeah, and get sleep, guys.
Yeah, it's probably quite important. He says no one he gets between 4 and 6 hours a day.
Melatonin gummies, dream come true. I used to have real issues getting to sleep. It would take me like up to 5 hours, sometimes 7 hours. And this was just like me being problematic. I couldn't sleep. And then I started having these little melatonin gummies, which are legal. They're just vitamins, but you can't buy them over the counter in the UK. You have to import them from the US. But yeah, they like helped me so much with just getting to sleep. It's obviously just looking into like alternative medicines or sometimes real ones if it's actually terrible.
Yeah. So that was obviously running through kind of the principles of things that overarching you should be doing, but then here's how to maximize your time through the week through preparation rather than just organization and little obvious tips, I suppose. So the first one is reflect on goals. Clearly define what you want to achieve during the week, aligning daily actions with your larger goals.
I did this.
Good. Next.
I want to practice music, which is why I've got drum practice, but I want to see if I can fit more drum practice in. But realistically, that's going to be more of like a weekend thing.
Every time I blink, I'm going to see this.
Obviously, I've got my MMA up there. That's set classes, so great. But I've got my swimming and my gymming, which is optional. And there's goals of getting fitter. I had something else on there, which was definitely a goals-based thing. Never mind.
The way I do it is I write my to-do list over there on, do you know those pieces of paper that you complained about? I tear those into A5 sheets and bind them together with a bulldog clip. Ta-da! Basically, I recycle our like red line drawings and turn them into little handy notepads for us all to use in the office. But on those,
all of us.
Do you not have one?
No, I don't have one. Oh, the intern doesn't get one.
Well, you're not worth it.
Oh, sorry, next time I won't put together all of these fantastic graphics, all 3 of them. Okay. 2 of which I stole.
And one of which we paid for to have designed. Anyway, so...
the other one I did on Google Sheets.
So what I do is I pull together it as I'll have like my monthly to-do list.
Yeah.
And then I have a separate one which stays like in the pad, which has like what I need to do every week. So I'll give myself a month of, week commencing, and then I'll have notes on the side or daily tasks if anything pops up that's urgent. That's how I tend to do it because it means that I can do like by the end of the month I must do X, Y, and Z. But then during the week I can do X.1, X.2 because it might be do concept A, refine the site plan, add trees to the model, like things like that you can do as like little separate bits, and that's how I tend to do it. And then reflect at the end of the week. I go, did I do this one? No, it must be carried on to next week. Did I do this one? Oh no, Theo can do it. I can delegate it. See, I'm already taking my own tips.
So pretty good. So last year in first year, while I was at uni, I went through a bit of a bad mental health patch, and I'd be doing my to-do list, and the amount of times I just couldn't get anything done. It kind of helps. I would write the day at the top. And even if I would just get at the end of the day and just cross that off, I'd be like, okay, I've done something. I've done the day. And it's like, I'd move the stuff on it the next day. But I found that was quite nice, but maybe that was really sad. But
You moved everything.
But yeah, but it was literally sometimes I was like, oh, you know
Command
what?
C.
If I was getting nothing done, I could say, you know what? I've done Wednesday. So
I survived Wednesday.
There is something, yeah. And that was, to-do lists for me are just I'll do them on my notes sometimes, and it's like before I go to bed, I'll think, right, what do I have to do tomorrow, and I'll write it down and leave it on my notes, so when I turn my phone on in the morning, it's the first thing I see. Yeah. And it's the first thing I ignore.
Because you go, Phil sent me loads of memes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when I come to my weekly reflection, it's the first 100 things I delete from my notes. It's all of my to-do lists. And it's like, I was going back to my point of if to-do lists could solve my problem, I would not have the problem. Yeah. Because I have so many to-do lists.
To-do list, write a to-do list.
Mate, yes. Like, that has been on it so many times when I've gone, I need a to-do list, but right now I need to have breakfast, so I'm just going to write to-do list. And then I look at it and I think, that looks like a lot of effort, so I write Wednesday above it.
Right. And then I suppose that leads us on to point 2, which is monthly or weekly reviews. Look at the previous week's accomplishments and pending tasks. Note what went well and what could be improved. I think we've pretty much covered it in the last one as we rambled, but yeah. Hence why I do the monthly thing.
Yeah, so actually one thing that I was meant to say in the previous point but didn't look at my notes at any point because I was talking about to-do lists is, obviously on there it says weekly, you do monthly. I like to do fortnightly. Yeah. In that, obviously 1 week isn't a very long time, but it feels like a kind of a short-term a period. A month feels like a much longer time, certainly for me where my semesters are like 2.5 months long. Yeah. If I do it 1 month, every month, then I'm not going to see much progress. But if I do a review or like a set of goals for every 2 weeks, that's a decent amount of time. And if I do a review at the end of every week, then I can see, right, I'm now halfway through. How much have I got done? Am I far ahead? Am I far behind? If I'm behind, I'm not stressing. I've still got a whole extra week. But if I'm ahead, I can kind of relax a bit. Or if I'm exactly on target, I can go, fantastic. And yeah, I did that for the final month of last semester, and it worked quite well, I think. I think. The problem was I was already about 2 months behind.
Got there in the end.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing, though, is when it says, obviously, set those monthly, weekly reviews, I tend to keep like quarterly reviews as well because I manage the cash flow of the business. I need to know when things are going to have to go out for us to not sink. Yeah. So a lot of the time I'll have my weekly, monthly, quarterly, then I've got bloody annual at the beginning of the year when I set the cash flow up for the year based on what jobs we've got in and what needs to be done when, and this job's going to come back here because that's when the planning determination is, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of like.
And then just reviewing those
period, time period you need for each individual
I think
set of jobs, I guess.
You said in the notes that you do it as a fortnightly thing. Yeah. And it's like, if that works for you, if monthly works, if fortnightly works.
I think just make sure it's not too short an amount of time between every set of goals.
There's nothing that gets done.
Yeah, exactly. If it's 1 week and you get to the end of it, and don't do more reviews than you do goals. Like in terms of do a review more often than you set goals. Because if you do a review every time you set your goal, then you're never going to have time to get ahead and you'll never catch up.
And you'll probably get a bit sad looking at the same goal over and over again.
Yeah, if I did a review every 2 weeks, then I'd get to the end of my 2 weeks, realize I hadn't done it, and then I wouldn't set my next set of goals because I wouldn't have completed the first set. But if you get a week in and you go, crap, I need to pick up the pace, fantastic. Yeah.
So the next suggestion is prepare materials, and this one's pretty obvious. Gather any documents, tools, information you'll need for your tasks ahead of time to avoid searching for them during work hours. I think that pretty much goes without any comment, because neither of us have written comments underneath that. But it kind of comes under that organisation thing in the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Hence my clearing my desk at the end of the week means when I come in on Monday, everything that I actually need is where I need it to be.
I think this is going to come in...
Hence why we leave the coffee grinder set perfectly for the coffee that we drink.
This is going to be very similar to point 6 and 7 here, or point 4 and 5, however we've done it. But it's one of them things of... You have to be organised enough to know to prepare in advance. You have to organise your organising.
And that's looking forward, having that overarching scope of this is what needs to get done in this time period.
Yeah, so what do I need to do to ensure I can get that done?
So then the next one is to set yourself, the next one to set yourself up. I've run out of coffee, so I'm getting dry. The next one is something to set you up for the week is meal preparation. Consider preparing meals ahead of time to save daily cooking and decision-making time. I do this now. I used to do it a lot, and then I stopped last year.
I don't.
I spiraled into a chaotic scheme of just getting takeaways all the time because I couldn't be asked to cook and I didn't have the time.
I've done it by mistake before, and it's amazing when you think, right, I've got a whole day in tomorrow. I need to take lunch with me. I'll set up breakfast ready for tomorrow. Overnight oats is something amazing because you can prepare it the night before, open the fridge and go, oh, breakfast, and just start eating it. Breakfast. But like, it's one of them things I'll do it by mistake, and then some days I'll go in and I'm like, crap, I haven't got any food ready. I don't have any bread, so I'm not making a sandwich. I could take a noodle and just put it under the boiling water tap.
One singular noodle.
Yeah, mate. I'm poor. I'm a student. I get in a 15 pence pack of noodles and I take 2 out. And I think that will do me.
Split it in half. That'll keep us going.
Yeah. You know, the Mickey Mouse meme of him slicing that. Oh, no, that's not public yet.
It's not Mickey Mouse, is it?
Oh, it's Donald Duck, isn't it?
Yeah, where he slices and you can see through the bread.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's a few things that actually taste better when they've been prepared in advance, like curries, bolognese.
Fried rice.
Yes. But I try not to do that thing where you waste an entire day on like a Sunday cooking 47 meals for the rest of the week. I try to do it as like as many slow cooker meals as I can, or have something like prepare out like shredded chicken and then just add sauce as you go.
Slow cookers are for adults, so I never want to get to that point. But yeah,
we're real boring over here.
Or even like if it's just something that you've got time the night before to set it up, because you might not want it done the week before, but you might think I'm going to need a sandwich tomorrow. Yeah. So make yourself your sandwich. But then that's preparing your meals for your materials for the week, knowing you're going to need to be able to create meals for the week.
Materials.
Yeah, materials, ingredients, whatever. I don't care.
The other thing about that is it saves you some money. Buying things in bulk is cheaper than buying one-off individual ones.
Costco.
Save yourself some money. Costco's not actually that cheap, but that's a whole other conversation for us to have. Not on the podcast.
An episode, Costco's not that cheap.
Isn't this an architecture podcast for architecture professionals and students? Costco's not that cheap.
What if you want a table and chairs?
Yeah.
Why? Just what if?
What if you could ever want one?
Sell it to clients.
Yes. So the next one is wardrobe planning. Decide on and arrange your outfits for the week to reduce daily decision fatigue.
I did this. You'll notice I've worn the same outfit for the past 3 days. I thought, I'm going to wear these clothes.
Yep.
I ran out of shirts on the first day. And by that, I mean, I put a dirty shirt on the first day back to work because I forgot to wash them.
You see, I
don't know how many I have, though, so I get to a point where I look at my cupboard and I'm like, oh, there's none left. They're all in the wash bin. I don't look in the cupboard in advance.
I literally have a T-shirt full of...
Zhana does.
Of course she does. It's Zhana.
Yeah.
She's the only one in the office who's prepared. But
She's the only one in the office with a clue.
I just have like a row of shirts, a row of these types of things. And then
I was going to say I've seen about 5 of them shacket hoodies.
I've only got one of these.
Oh.
But I've got that red and black one I wore on the intro to this season episode, and then I've got a different, but it's different to this, if that makes sense.
I made the clever decision of not wearing the grey walk-in cargos again, and also turning this radiator off so I'm not sweating through all of my 5 layers.
But in terms of meal prepping, if you buy chicken in bulk, like you suggested, and then you cut it in like chunks, and then you freeze it. So I usually buy 2 kilograms, split it.
Oh, I don't have to put my hand up. I run this thing.
I go through like 5 kilos a week.
My problem with chicken.
Yeah, but you eat way more than I do. I'm talking about the female.
She called me fat.
Chicken's got to be, as someone who worries about budget a lot, chicken's got to be one of the best things for like price per kilo. But the problem is remembering to defrost it like the day before.
Not
necessarily.
No, you can quick defrost things.
I don't have a microwave.
Didn't say you needed a microwave.
How do you quick defrost something without a microwave?
You just fill up a sink or a bowl with boiling water and plonk it in for a bit.
What if I want to wash my cup?
Bollocks to your cup. Sort your life out. Stop being a little bitch.
But yeah, what I was going to say was just cut them in cubes, put them in bags of 500 grams or 750, depends how many people you're cooking for.
Just me.
Just me, 750.
Yeah, 750 works for me to be fair. But and then that's it. And then you're settled. You don't have to cut the chicken. You cut on at least 10-15 minutes from your cooking time.
Yeah. I think as well, me and Matt have 3 Tupperware dishes between us, which is definitely an us problem. But that's one of them things of going, right, Matt, I'm going to be using a Tupperware dish this week. And I'll go, oh, okay.
Oh, we've got loads. I've got those glass ones because the plastic ones get getting wrecked.
Yeah. That's a usable argument.
It would be usable if we had a microphone.
Well, audience, real audience.
We'll put a poll.
Sorry, metaphorical audience. If you give us money, like we've got Patreon.
100% says no.
You all could pay us. And we could,
you subscribe to our Patreon
Buy
for as
a
little as £1 a month, which works out as 3p a day. It goes out in tiers from £1, £3, £5 and £10 a month if you want to reduce yourself. If you want to reduce yourself some tax bill, but also it can be included as part of the ARB and RIBA informal CPD training.
So, do it.
So,
and Mike, if you're listening,
sponsor us with some free coffee.
we love you, man.
Even though we are currently drinking it. If I just move this coaster that's got his name on it
But yes, no one will be able to see that.
So the next one is set clear objectives for each day. Have a clear set of achievable objectives to focus on what's necessary. I know we've covered this before, but I kind of feel like I may have already said this.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, because they're not in actual numerical order. I keep a list, but it's an
For
ever-growing
my
problem.
objectives.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, we've kind of covered this, I know, previously, but I suppose it's worth reiterating on a weekly basis. You should be setting your objectives up.
So for each day, I have a clear set of achievable. So I put laughing emoji.
No, he's actually written laughing emoji. He's not put a laughing emoji on.
I write a to-do list and then instantly forget about the to-do list. It's got so diet that I write my to-do list on my arm.
Yeah.
And I do it in those pens we've got, which are really good. So after 3 showers, it's starting to wash off. And it's one of them, I keep looking at, and eventually I'm going to do it. I have to do it eventually. It's got to the point where I'm half tempted to get a tattoo of a picture frame with dotted lines so I can write on it more clearly.
A couple of squares with a tick to go in.
Yeah, my only problem there is it limits the amount of arm I can write on.
So the problem is I can't write on any part of me because I've got tattoos anyway, so it doesn't work.
But I'm very tempted with just a picture frame there as a diary, but I need more Popeye arms so I can have more space.
Start going to the gym.
That's why I need
Which
to
is
go
part
to the
of the self-care.
Yeah, go to the gym so you have a bigger space for to-do.
It's all circular.
Yeah.
So, and then the last one is anticipating obstacles. Yeah, again, I tend to have a plan of what needs to be done in a month, what needs to be done in the year, blah, blah, blah. The only problem I seem to have is constantly getting other things pop up. I can anticipate as many obstacles as I like by saying okay, we factor in things like the detail of how we're going to put a building together at the concept stage. We kind of we assess the design and understand that there's going to be obstacles at this point, and having a clear idea or a rough idea of what we're going to do. That's obviously months in advance. For the week, it makes it a bit more difficult, but the biggest problem I have is the obstacles tend to be ones I can't anticipate. I get a phone call saying, we've come to dig the foundations and there's something in the way, or
they accidentally blew the house up. Shit.
What? Anyway, so sometimes there's a lot of things, especially in our industry, when
that's projects in the bloopers.
When projects begin, there's a lot of things that you can't really anticipate. I always say this to clients when we meet with them: is I can tell you the problems from the outside and things, but there are things in the floor and in the ceiling and that I can't predict, and and some clients aren't prepared to pay the extra money to find out what those problems are up front. So a lot of the time,
there are voices in the walls.
Difficult to anticipate some of the obstacles.
Till the sweat dripped. Anyway, yeah, I have a response to that.
But the other thing is I'll daisy chain my meetings now. So if I've got a meeting in, say, Whitley Bay tomorrow, and someone calls me up and says, I need to, can you come meet us? My property is in Whitley Bay, and I'll go, yep, I'm there tomorrow. Yeah. Or my next free slot is in 3-4 weeks' time. If they say,
try and plan.
Yeah, and if they say, right, okay, well, I can't do tomorrow. Can we do 3 or 4 weeks' time? I set that in. Yeah. So say it's in 4 weeks' time. And then for the next 4 weeks, every time someone either between me, where I am in the office, and Whitley Bay gets in touch, I just daisy chain it along. If someone else in Whitley Bay gets in touch, I go to Whitley Bay. Sometimes if I've got free like time or a spare hour, I'll swing by the other job sites in Whitley Bay whilst I'm there, just to kind of, one, say hi to the clients and see how things are going, and two, just to make sure everything's on track if I'm not on site that day.
My biggest obstacle that I anticipate but really struggle to overcome is me.
You are like 6'7". You are quite a difficult obstacle
physically,
to get
sure.
over.
Metaphorically, also. I'm aware of the fact that my time management isn't good, and I do a lot to try and solve that. But the problem is my time management isn't very good. And despite all the resources that I throw at it and effort that I put into it, fundamentally it comes to trying to set a habit, which I'm pretty sure there are lots of books about. I would love to read one of them, but I would have to put the time aside to read a book. So the problem with me getting there is the fact that I can't currently get there. But I reckon,
Audiobook?
Huh?
Audiobook.
Great. Fantastic.
That was a great suggestion, Phil.
I'm currently listening to Frankenstein, so later.
You just call me Phil, but okay.
But yeah, it's like when you, I know that one of my biggest problems is, like, I've anticipated that my time management isn't good, but when I kind of go, well, what can I do to plan around not having good planning? That's a bit of an issue.
Yeah, that means you need someone external pushing you forward.
Yeah, and it's one of them things of...
Probably why you get more work done at work than you do at uni for the same...
Well, last semester when I started going into studio, it was great because I was with other people. I was really getting on everyone's nerves. But...
I could not imagine that.
Yeah, right? Anyone who's listening from uni, don't tell me. But also, don't worry, everyone gets it here as well. But yeah, it's one of them things. What was I saying? Oh dear, the ADHD's happened.
You go into the studio, and it's helped you even though you annoy people.
Yeah, I feel like there's something just before that.
I'm imagining you were going to go down the route of you can see other people doing work and you're trying to...
No, I think because when I can... Oh, right, so last semester I got to a point of like, I kind of was planning my time and then just had a mental, like, everything went.
Yeah.
No matter how much of a plan I had, I just had to think a solid 3 weeks of nothing happened.
Just spiral.
Yeah, and I was thinking I need to do something. And yeah, it's literally that spiral of I want it. Oh. And it's when you get that unplanned moment of no matter how good your planning is, you can't get out of it. And the annoying thing is when you're the obstacle, and then you just get yourself worked up.
Using some of those other techniques, the prioritizing tasks, and
but I think that's kind of where like almost maybe a bit of meditation would come in, of like knowing you've got yourself in a bit of Oh, I've clicked on something else.
No.
Where's the mouse?
Using your cry time efficiently. You do it.
Yeah.
Just using your cry time efficiently.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I think it's one of them. Yeah, literally, like that's where your self-care comes in. And if you can see you're going into one of them spirals, if you get that, having a way of getting out of it, or being able to just look and go, okay, I'm in a bit of a tizzy at the minute. How am I going to like sort myself out? Or even if I have like a few days away and like really focus on not focusing.
Sometimes doing something completely different for a bit.
Yeah, and not even just like a different task, like completely different.
Yeah.
Go shopping for like 3 days.
Spend all your money. Become homeless.
Yeah.
Live in a...
I've spent all... That's the thing. That's the great thing about being broke is you can't run out of money. You don't have any to lose.
Do you know that gif of Zach Gaffer-Laffer-Laffer-Laffer-Lafferless, where he's like doing the math in his head?
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up this one, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us this episode. If you're listening on any podcasting platform, please consider leaving us a review. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Follow us on Instagram at BackToTheDrawingBoardIG.
And please consider subscribing to our Patreon for bonus content, longer episodes, and to help build our community.
We'll see you next time when we return back to the drawing board.